Hi, I'm Quinn, and I'm autistic. And I'm starting this new year with a confession. Like all autists, I sometimes find I'm unable to do something that everyone else seems to take in their stride. And for the most part, I've found ways of working around them. But every now and again, I hit a barrier I can't get round. I hit a tiny bump in the road that to me might as well be a mountain. And whichever way I turn, I can't seem to get any help. In those times, I fucking hate being autistic. That might sound a bit rich from someone who's spent the last 7 years making videos to help other autistic people cope better with their lives. But I'm not coping terribly well myself at the moment. Why am I telling you this? Well, give me a few minutes and maybe it'll make more sense. Autismatic has never been about quick fixes or sensationalism, just solid, well-observed, intelligently presented insight that anyone can use to understand themselves better. Like most of the autistic people I've known over the last 40 years, I have a deeply rooted need to make sense of a situation before I can apply patches to fix it. So that's what I try to offer here. Tangible ways to make sense of what it means to be autistic in a non-autistic world. I very often use events from my own life as a basis for the work I do. But today, I'm not the example. I'm the case study. I'm the one wondering how best to deal with a situation I'm not built for. I need to give you some background first, and I'll start by addressing a couple of questions that come up in my comments quite often. No, the room I'm sat in isn't real. It's a simple virtual set. I almost always use a background, and there's a reason for that, and why I don't film outdoors very often. Filming on location is a bit of a challenge for me, because I'm not very good at walking. That's also why you always see me sat down. I have something called ankylosing spondylitis. Not terribly rare, but you don't usually see it in folks as young as me. I've had it since my late 20s. It's an inflammatory disease of the spine that affects the bones themselves as well as the surrounding tissues. That's what the ankylosing bit means. It comes from the same Latin root as those dinosaurs with the bony plates down their backs and the club tails, ankylosaurs, or stiff-fused lizards. My vertebrae have been slowly fusing together for decades now, which hit my mobility first and put me on sticks and sometimes a wheelchair. Now, my neck's affected too, and I can't stand up straight anymore or raise my head high enough to look where I'm going. But when I'm sat down and lean back a bit like now, I can look straight ahead at the camera and talk to you properly in comfort. I can actually see how much straighter my back used to be only a few years ago on my earliest videos, which is a weird side effect of this job, I guess. I'm on the best treatment available for my condition, and I have regular physio and checkups, and because of that, I've got some movement and quality of life. But it doesn't fix it. I'm still in pain every day, and my mobility is very limited. But without the injections I get every fortnight and the maraca full of painkillers I take through the day, I'd be buggered. I know, I've run out of meds before, and it's not pretty. Which would be enough to be dealing with on its own. But life is rarely that simple. My wife wasn't disabled when we met. In fact, I was the one who limited what we could do back then. We'd always have to make sure we kept walking to a minimum and allowed plenty of time to get from A to B, that sort of thing. But otherwise, we led lives as full and active as we wanted to. A couple of years after we got married, she started to become increasingly unwell, and everything started turning upside down. As time went on, more and more symptoms emerged, nibbling away at her quality of life, meaning she's had to rely more and more on me to take care of her. For all the misery and disruption when COVID shut the world down, I was at least grateful for the opportunity it gave me to start working from home, because it made looking after my wife so much easier. By that time, she needed me more than ever, and I was also trying to make a go of this channel. Working from home took away so much of the stress of my day by not going into the office, and it gave me more time to help out at home. Thing is, I was fighting a losing battle even then. I was trying to work full-time hours and be a full-time carer while still running this channel as well, and I didn't do very well at it. The channel started to suffer as I became less and less able to divide my time effectively. My job had to come first or we'd have no money coming in, but juggling my job and caring duties was more than enough to keep me busy. Those worries were solved, in a manner of speaking, when my employer ended my 30-year career by replacing me with a machine. It may come as no surprise to you, but I haven't found work since. Despite 30 years of consistent employment in a very knowledge-based industry, nobody seems interested in a middle-aged autistic guy hobbled over a walking stick, however much experience and skill I might have to offer. Not even a whiff of interest, even from jobs that wouldn't pay enough to cover my rent. So I did the only thing I felt I could. I made this channel my main focus and put every ounce of time and energy I could muster into it with the aim of making it my main source of income. Of course, I didn't factor in that shortly after, both my parents and my father-in-law would pass away one after the other, or how difficult it would be to deal with all that grief and the legal shenanigans 3 times over. Plus, my wife's health continued to deteriorate, and now my mother-in-law needs my help too, bringing us to the present. But when I say I'm not coping, it's not because I'm falling through the cracks of desperation right now. Not quite. But because I've been struggling to find a way forward for so long, I've had to accept that I just can't do it alone. I've lost count of the times that I've read comments on my videos like, "Why doesn't this channel have more subscribers?" or "Why don't you get hundreds of thousands of views?" And I can answer them quite easily. I know I do a decent job of writing and making videos, but that's not enough on its own. I need to be a marketer, an accountant, a social media coordinator, content moderator, merchandiser, business forecaster, and a few other things I can't do. And I mean can't. Ever since I started this channel, I've been hoping that Mrs. A, my wife, would be able to help me out a little, but she's not yet been well enough to offer practical help. She can't do anything around the house anymore, let alone be my camera operator. So I've worked almost completely alone since I started this. She helps me hone my scripts when she's able, but beyond that, there's not much she can do to help me out. That's why I film on green screen. I'm ashamed of my home, to be honest. I'm so frustrated that I can't keep up with all the housework and everything else on my own, and so my home is untidier than I want it to be. So, I do the best I can to present a professional image by other means. It means filming is a major event every time I do it because I have to repurpose our whole living room into a studio, moving things around, setting up the green screen, camera, lights and mics every single time, and taking it all down again and putting it away again afterwards. It takes me a whole day these days, but there's no one to help me. My wife can't do it, and despite working for 15 years at a firm not 2 miles from where I live, I didn't make a single friend in the local area who might be willing to lend a hand. But none of that has stopped me. I did get stuck for a while, only putting videos out sporadically, but I set myself a goal of fortnightly uploads a while ago, and I've stuck to it. It's not only good for the YouTube algorithm, but for my self-esteem as well. I need to create to feel whole, to feel like I'm contributing something to the world still. And keeping to a regular rhythm, no matter how hard it is to maintain, goes a long way towards that. But this channel doesn't pay my way yet. I've spent the last few years since my redundancy losing money, dipping into my meagre savings to make up the gaps, and they aren't lasting. So I need to work something out. But right now, I don't know what that will look like. I know what needs to be done to build this channel up into what it could be, but I can't do it alone. I don't have the time, the energy, or the skills to boost this channel to the couple of 100,000 subscribers I need for it to pay for itself, or to generate the money to pay someone else to do it. And this is where being autistic becomes the problem. Some of those skills are beyond me, and no amount of practice or training can overcome those gaps because I'm autistic and my skills are spiky. My skill set makes me good at thinking things through and communicating those thoughts. I'm a storyteller and a creator, a disseminator of ideas, not a business specialist. I don't just lack the skills, I lack the temperament even. The same gaps in my skill set that proved to me that I'm not cut out for corporate middle management years ago are the ones that stand in my way now. I tried to get a grant a while back that would have given me some funds to boost the channel and maybe pay for some of the help I need. But I couldn't complete the simple requirement they had of drawing up a business plan because I haven't a clue what I'm doing where business is concerned, so the whole thing fell through. Like all autists, my skill set is very spiky. We're people of extremes. We're either very good at something or we're very terrible at it. Not often average. Unfortunately, I happen to score very low in a few skills I really need right now. That's why, just lately, I've been having more and more of those moments where I just fucking hate the limitations holding me back. Limitations I wouldn't have if I wasn't autistic, but also limitations that wouldn't be such a problem if I could actually get the help I need. It's not as simple as learning how business works, though. If it was, I'd have just brute forced it years ago. It's my temperament, my particular flavour of autisticness that's getting in the way. I've already been through decades of failing to get my head around business, marketing, socials and financials in my old work life because no amount of training or study can overcome my complete absence of the necessary personality traits. I simply don't have a competitive bone in my body, so expecting me to think like an entrepreneur is an impossible ask. You know that trick some ADHDers use to get over task inertia of gamifying things that they need to do, making them competitive to stimulate their motivation? Does the complete opposite to me. Make something competitive and I not only lose interest, I actively want out of it. Almost everything about modern business makes me feel sick. I mean, literally queasy. The competition, the positioning, the influencer language, the self-interest and self-promotion required is the stuff of nightmares and migraines for me. I don't know how many times I've tried to explain that to people who I thought might be able to give me the guidance I needed, but I'm still not certain anyone has properly understood what I've been trying to say. I can only hope that some of you, my autistic viewers, will get what I mean, because I've literally cried with frustration before trying to be understood. Just to add a little bitter icing on the cake too, I'm also dyscalculic, especially when it comes to money, so I need a huge amount of help with anything financial. Not a great combination for making a living in this world. I'm in the same awful position that so many autistic people have found themselves in before and will do again if we don't start properly getting through to people. I'm stuck in limbo, doing my best to do everything right within my capabilities, but completely lost outside of them. I don't have the friends, the support network, or even the money to pay someone to help out either at home or with the channel, and it would take so little to make a difference. I'm not a salesman or a marketer. I'm the product. If I get more time and energy, I can make more product, but I still won't have the skills to sell it effectively. It's a classic catch-22. No, actually, it's more of a Vimes Boots situation. In the Discworld books, Terry Pratchett wrote how Captain Vimes of the City Watch didn't earn enough to buy a pair of $50 waterproof boots that would keep his feet warm and dry for a decade. So he bought $10 boots instead that didn't even last a year. If he could afford the $50 for decent boots, they'd serve him well for 10 years or more. But thanks to his limitation, his poor salary, he ended up spending twice as much on crap boots and still got wet feet. I'm kind of doing something similar with my time and energy. I'm expending so many of my spoons on treading water, leaving me none left to swim to safety. But even if the gods were to smile on us, fix my wife's health and free up all those resources, I'd still struggle to do any of those businessy tasks I need to do. So this is why I'm telling you this now. Autistic isn't going anywhere, and I'll still keep cranking out the content as long as I'm able, but I don't know if or when I'll be able to grow it beyond what it is now, or write the books people keep asking for. A few months ago, my wife finally got a diagnosis that explains why she's been gradually getting more ill for the last decade or more, but it's not an easy condition to treat. Thankfully, we live in the UK, so we don't have medical bills to worry about, but it's still going to be a long road to her getting better. None of the treatments she's had so far have improved her lot, and there's only so many options on the table. So my hope that she'll get well enough to play the part she's always wanted to isn't looking like materialising anytime soon. Unless you have any ideas. Is there anyone out there who can help me with the things I'm rubbish at and willing to help make this channel what it should be? I can't pay anyone yet because I don't even make enough to live on myself, but that brings us back to Vime's boots again. People often say in my comments, I wish I could do what you do. And I kind of feel the same about people who can handle social media, marketing, or who know how to work with money. Maybe there's someone out there who believes in what I'm doing enough that they can spare me a few hours every week to run a couple of simple social media accounts or help me keep up with my YouTube comments. Maybe you're a whiz with numbers and money and could help me draw up a business plan or understand my accounts better. Perhaps there's another creator or YouTuber who's having trouble keeping up or in growing your channel, and we could pool our resources. You don't have to be making the same kind of content for us to help each other out with the practicals. I don't know what might turn up, but as my old dad was always wont to tell me, you don't get nothing sat on your arse with your lips tied. So why not just ask? This video wouldn't exist if I was coping as well as I want to. Need to. My last 2 videos were finished mere moments before my upload deadline, and this one is deliberately simple because I so want to get caught up again to take some of the pressure off. The latest drama was my wife getting a random but nasty eye infection just before Christmas, which had me driving across the city to find a pharmacy on the Sunday before and a last-minute doctor's appointment on Christmas Eve, all costing time and energy I had allocated to work. I don't even feel comfortable asking people to like and subscribe to my channel, let alone to sign up on Patreon, but I do it on every video now out of necessity. What I'm asking now isn't strictly necessity, though. I can carry on as I am for a while longer, and you never know, something else might turn up that takes the pressure off one way or another. But that's just staying afloat. Doesn't change anything for the better. I know this could be so much more if I had the resources, but I also know that there are certain tasks I'm not built to fulfill. So I'm going out on a limb and asking for help. I'll leave it at that for today. I know that this is a weird video and that probably most of you who started watching it didn't get this far, but if you did, thanks for watching. And whatever else happens, I hope you keep watching for years to come. I'm Quinn, and I'm autistic.